When I bought the cabin in the woods, I wasn't looking for peace. I was looking for silence. I had spent 6 years living in the chaos of the city, listening to the screech of trains, the honking of taxis, and the screaming of neighbors through paper-thin walls. I wanted silence so deep it pressed against your ears like water. A place where even your own breathing felt too loud. The cabin was 40 miles from the nearest town, buried deep in an untouched stretch of pine forest. The kind of place where even GPS gives up. No neighbors, no cell signal, just trees, wind, and snow. Exactly what I needed. It had been abandoned for years. I got it cheap. Too cheap. The realtor said the previous owner had left in a hurry. The words stuck in my head. He hadn't died. He hadn't sold it. He had left. That's all they knew. I didn't care. I just wanted to be alone. I moved in during early winter. The forest was quiet and beautiful. Deer tracks crisscrossed the snow around the cabin. Smoke curled lazily from the chimney. I chopped wood, drank black coffee, read dusty books by the fireplace. The isolation felt like a blanket I could finally pull over myself. For the first 3 nights, everything was perfect, but on the 4th night, I heard it. It was faint at first. I almost thought I imagined it. I was lying on the old couch, half asleep, when I heard a voice. A whisper. It was coming from beneath the floor. At first I thought it was wind, or maybe the creak of old wood, but then it came again, this time clearer. "Help!" I sat up. My skin went cold. "He's watching!" It was a woman's voice, soft, desperate, just under my feet, as if someone was laying between the floorboards, speaking through the cracks. I jumped to my feet and turned on every light. I even pulled up one of the rugs, checked the wooden slats. Nothing, just dust. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning I tried to convince myself it had been a dream, or maybe my mind playing tricks on me. After all, I hadn't slept well in days. Maybe the silence was messing with my head. But that night, it returned. More voices, whispering, murmuring, male and female, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing softly, and always from the same place, beneath the floorboards. I tried recording it. I left my phone on the floor overnight with the voice memo app running. In the morning, I played it back. Nothing. Just static and the occasional creak. But I knew I'd heard them. By the 6th night, the whispers had grown louder. Sometimes they said my name. "Evan." Sometimes they begged, "Please, let us out." And sometimes they spoke to someone else. "He's here now. He can hear us." I started tearing up the floor. I pulled up 3 of the old planks in the living room, heart racing. There was nothing there, just dirt, hard, frozen ground. No crawl space, no basement, just soil. But the air that came out of the hole was warm, and it smelled like rot. I didn't sleep again, not properly. On the 9th day, I tried to leave. I packed a bag, loaded my car, and drove down the snow-covered path that led out of the woods. But 20 minutes later, I was back in front of the cabin. I don't remember turning around. The GPS showed me in the same spot. My fuel tank had barely moved. It was like I had driven in a circle, or like the road itself had reset. I stayed in the car for hours, shaking, before finally going back inside. That night I nailed the floorboards back down. It didn't help. I stopped counting the days after that. The sun still rose and set, but the time between felt distorted. Hours slipped by like minutes. Sometimes I'd look up from the fire and find it was suddenly pitch black outside. The whispers grew bolder. Now they spoke clearly, in full sentences. I heard conversations, arguments, screams. And sometimes they mimicked me. One night, I heard my own voice whisper back at me, "Why did you come here, Evan?" I started finding strange things around the cabin. A child's drawing under my pillow, a stick figure house surrounded by red crayon scribbles, a lock of black hair in the kitchen sink, scratches on the inside of the closet door. I stopped using mirrors. One night, while brushing my teeth, I saw something in the reflection behind me, something tall watching from the hallway. But when I turned, nothing was there, except a footprint, bare, muddy, on the clean floor. I tried boarding up the room where the whispers were loudest, the old bedroom in the back. I nailed the door shut, but the next morning the nails were on the floor, neatly lined up like someone had placed them there. I burned sage. Didn't help. I screamed at the voices, begged them to stop. They laughed. On what must have been the 20th night, I dreamed I was beneath the floor, trapped in dirt, my mouth full of soil, eyes open in darkness, and above me I could hear footsteps, someone walking, pausing, listening. It was me. I started sleeping in the armchair with a flashlight in one hand and a hammer in the other. Every sound put me on edge, the groan of the wood, the wind against the windows, even the pop of the fire. My ears strained constantly, listening for them. The whispers changed that week. They were no longer asking for help. They were angry. "You shouldn't have come. You broke the seal. He sees through your eyes now." Who was he? I began hearing footsteps in the attic, slow, deliberate. I never went up there. I never wanted to. But one night, the hatch was open. I climbed up. Dust coated everything, boxes, old furniture, broken lamps. But in the far corner, under the sloped roof, there was a small child's bed. Fresh sheets, a toy rabbit with its eyes torn out, and carved into the wooden beam above it, "Below is not empty." I went back down and closed the hatch. I nailed it shut. But the next night, it was open again. Then I heard scratching beneath the floorboards. Not voices this time, nails, like someone dragging their fingers through the dirt, slowly, patiently. I couldn't stay still anymore. I started digging, ripping up boards, clawing into the soil beneath with a shovel. For hours I dug, screaming, crying, demanding the voices show themselves. That's when I found the box. It was small, wooden, covered in symbols I didn't recognize. No latch, no keyhole. But when I touched it, the whispers stopped. I didn't sleep that night. I sat by the fire, box in my lap, heart pounding. It was warm, too warm, and I swear it breathed. At exactly 3:17 a.m. it opened on its own. Inside, teeth. Human teeth. Hundreds of them, polished and arranged like jewelry, and beneath them, a folded piece of yellowed paper. I unfolded it. It said only one thing: "Now you belong to the floor." After that night, everything unraveled. I tried burning the box. It wouldn't catch. I threw it into the river 1/2 mile from the cabin. The next morning, it was back on the table. I called the police. The call never went through. I tried hiking out. Backpack, food, compass. I walked for hours. But the forest twisted. Trees repeated. A dead owl in the snow kept showing up every 20 minutes, lying with its eyes open and neck bent wrong. I wasn't alone anymore. Now I saw them. In reflections, in corners, in dreams. Tall, thin shapes. Pale faces with mouths too wide and eyes too small. They watched me with a hunger I couldn't describe. Not for flesh. For something else. For my soul, maybe. Sometimes I'd wake up and find dirt in my mouth. Dirt under my fingernails, my boots muddy though I hadn't left the cabin. Once I woke to find myself beneath the floorboards, looking up through the cracks, watching myself sleep on the couch. Then I woke again, back on the couch. But my mouth still tasted like dirt. I tried praying. I'm not religious, but I tried everything. Candles, salt, circles drawn in chalk. Nothing worked. I began hearing her, the woman who whispered that first night. She came often now, whispering just behind my ear, not angry, not pleading, sad. "He won't stop until he's full. Don't listen to the teeth. Don't open the trap door." Trap door? I didn't know there was one, but she told me where to look, under the stove. And I found it. Hidden, rusted, bolted shut. I stared at it for hours. That night the entire cabin shook. Books flew from shelves, windows cracked, and from under the trap door came laughter, Deep, ancient, wrong. I didn't open it. Not yet. I knew I was running out of time. I looked like a ghost, pale, sunken. My beard had grown in patches. My eyes were red from never sleeping. I didn't recognize myself anymore. The voices were constant now, day and night, and something moved under the cabin. I could feel it, shifting, crawling, waiting. I had to end it, so I made a plan. I set the cabin ablaze. I poured gasoline over every room, over the trap door, over the box. I lit a match. And for one moment, blessed, perfect silence. Then came the screams, from the floor, from the walls, from inside me. The fire roared, but it didn't spread. The flames danced in place like puppets, illuminating the walls which were suddenly covered in faces, dozens, hundreds, mouths open in agony, pressed into the wood grain. I ran, but the door was gone. The windows were brick. The cabin wouldn't let me leave. And then, the floor cracked. Not splintered, cracked like stone, like a shell breaking open. From beneath, a hand reached out. It wasn't human. It had too many fingers, and they bent the wrong way. It gripped the floor and pulled something up. Tall, black, dripping with earth, and whispering in every language at once. The entity didn't move toward me. It just looked. And in that moment, I saw every soul it had devoured, every man, woman, child, pulled into the earth like roots, and I knew my name had been added to the list. I screamed, but no sound came out. And then, I woke up. In the cabin, back on the couch. The fire was out. Everything was quiet. I thought, maybe it was all a dream, a hallucination, until I looked down. The trapdoor was open. The box sat beside it. And from below came a whisper. "Thank you for letting us out."